Pauli Murray will be the first Black queer person on U.S. currency.
Teaching about Pauli Murray.
Pauli was a writer, a lawyer, a priest, a poet. Pauli was a feisty woman.
My name is Pauli Murray. My whole history has been a struggle in a society dominated by the ideas that blacks were inferior to whites and women were inferior to men.
Pauli was way ahead of the times.
I chose for my senior paper, should Plessy versus Ferguson be overruled? My little argument went to the Supreme Court.
Y'all see all of the different folks that are in this room? That is made possible by Pauli Murray.
If you rip away everything, oppression is the business of not respecting one's personhood. For my first 2 years, I was the only woman in the law school. They didn't even let me talk.
Thurgood Marshall is talking about Jim Crow, and she says, what I'm experiencing is Jane Crow.
Pauli Murray was not just an amazing lawyer or a badass feminist, but also a queer, non-binary person. Sitting in front of Murray's notes, the turmoil and the suffering, this is a feeling I know well. Scholars who have written about Pauli largely still use feminine pronouns. I don't know what pronouns Pauli would say.
Trans and gender non-binary people have always been a part of our American context. So did y'all just think that your generation invented it?
But if this country is to survive, we must live together in harmony.
Pauli may not have realized they would be a beacon for so many folks.
Pauli's time had not come. We have to work for a world in which it does come.
You say I can't.
Pauli Murray, non-binary Black activist, lawyer, priest, and poet, will be featured on the quarter in the next round of U.S. Mint's American Women Quarters program, making Murray the first Black queer person to appear on the U.S. currency. In 1977, she became one of the first women and the first African-American woman to be ordained as an Episcopal priest. Pauli Murray died of cancer in Pittsburgh on July 1st, 1985. Their autobiography, Song in a Weary Throat, An American Pilgrimage, was published posthumously in 1987. Murray's quarter will be issued in 2024. Others in 2024 group are Patsy Takemoto Mink, the first woman of color to serve in Congress, Dr. Mary Edwards Walker, a Civil War-era surgeon, women's rights advocate, and abolitionist, Zitkala-Ša, a writer, composer, educator, and activist for Native Americans' rights, and Celia Cruz, the Cuban-American singer known as the Queen of Salsa. This is amazing. You can see that they were a trailblazer, and it's great that they're finally highlighting the many powerful Black women who have taken a stand and led the way for many of us.
Well, did anybody see the documentary yet? My name is Pauli Murray. Excellent. I'm not ashamed, but I'm sad to say that this is the only reason why I got to know Pauli Murray is because of this documentary. I happened to stumble on it, and it was magnificent. What an example of a woman or a non-binary individual in this case that is the strength behind the power and the message with the unsung hero. You know, you see Thurgood Marshall used their words, RBG, Ruth Ginsburg, used their words from her research and from what she had put together. And, it's just the example of how women have constantly been in the background, and now we're putting them in the forefront, really on some money, on some currency. So I'm excited about this.
I kind of saw some of the backlash to this because, the U.S. Mint announces what the 2024, who those folks are going to be. And I saw some of the social media backlash about why are we, demonizing America by putting queer people in the currency. And so this is a trend that we're going to continue to see. But it's finally, I'm really happy to see that there are actually, unsung heroes throughout our history are being recognized. There are so many people, but like you said, I didn't even know anything about Pauli Murray until a couple of weeks ago when I saw people screaming about this. And so I think, we need to highlight a lot more of those people.
And going back a few years under the Obama administration, there were plans to put abolitionist and former slave Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Those plans were delayed under He Who Shall Not Be Named's presidency, number 45. And there was a memo that Secretary Yellen from the Treasury Department issued to the internal employees saying that the bill will become effective in 2030. So in a couple of years, we're going to see Harriet Tubman. And last year, we saw Dr. Maya Angelou on the quarter as the first African-American. So this program is amazing. And as the Afro-Latinx representation on the table, I'm so excited to see Celia Cruz, the Queen of Salsa. I am dressed in honor of her. She wears a lot of fabulous colors and sequins. So today I put on my Instagram that Afro-Latinx history is Black history, and indeed is being recognized by the U.S. government.
Absolutely. I have some complicated feelings about this because I remember when Harriet Tubman was a conversation on the $20 bill and folks were like, what is that feeling that describes that we were once currency and here we are back again as currency, right? Like and that stuck with me to be like, oh, you're right, and so many other countries that have women on their currency, but also are far more progressive in their equity and far more progressive in the women that they've had in leadership. So what does it look like to say, yes, we prioritize women, but then not actually do it in action? When we've never had a woman president, yes, we have a first vice president that's a woman. But when we look at so much leadership that's like, the currency is one thing and maybe it's the easy thing versus actually stepping aside and allowing women to lead, to lead in these spaces. So,
yeah. And I was reading that coins are easier than actual currency, paper currency, because for paper currency, you have to make sure that it's counterfeit proof. And that takes a longer process, whereas with coins, it's a little bit easier. So way to go in using this mints program. I think it's valid until 2025, so let's keep going.
Right. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.